What's up, PTB Nation? Welcome to episode 32 of Parking the Bus. All right, we are on a new platform tonight. I'm trying something new here. It is on Periscope right now, and in case it doesn't work, there's always the podcast, of course. No, I've got the podcast is the podcast. It will always be posted as a podcast, but I'm attempting to post this video to Periscope. Not sure if it's going to work or not using a new service or trying it out right now. As you can see all over your screen, it says that we're live with StreamYard. So it's supposed to go from StreamYard to Periscope via Twitter. I'm not seeing it on my Twitter feed, but we're going to go ahead with the show because this is episode 32, and this is a North American edition of Parking the Bus. All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Thank you to everyone who checked out the episode 31 that I filmed, that I recorded, I should say, earlier today. And it was a South American edition. Now we're moving north to North America. We're going to talk a lot tonight about Concacaf Champions League. That is a big topic here. And then we're going to check in on Major League Soccer and Liga MX and a few other things going on in the region. Not to mention, as always, even though it's not geographically part of North America, when talking North America, I always include Australia because, well, it's its own continent on the other side of the world, but it's got to be grouped in somewhere. And I like to keep everyone up to date on the Hyundai Australian A-League, so we'll touch on that as well today in this episode. All right, let's go to well, I got to think before we move forward. Okay, I've got one shout out to make right now, and that shout out is going to the ballers, if you will, on the U.S. men's national futsal team who are down in Guatemala City right now. Tomorrow, they kick off the CONCACAF Championship in futsal, looking to be one of four teams to qualify for the FIFA World Cup next year of 2022. And they're playing El Salvador tomorrow. Okay, so big shout out to all of them, especially to my boy Juninho Junior Alencar, who used to play in our division of the PDL when I was coaching with Real Boston. He played both with Worcester Hydra and with Western Mass Pioneers, a guy I always tried to bring to Real Boston, but forces louder than myself didn't want that to happen because it didn't fit the model. So actually, I'll be flat out honest. We had a head coach who told me straight out that Junior Alencar couldn't play, and I told him he was nuts. And tomorrow, Junior Alencar plays for the United States in the CONCACAF Championship. Go USA! Let's get to the World Cup. Let's win this CONCACAF Futsal Championship. All right, not sure where you're going to see it. I looked for television and for streaming options. The only thing is for Mexico's games, which will be on 2DNA. Just search the internet tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern time here in the United States on the East Coast. All right, 11 a.m. on the West Coast. Check it out. That's tomorrow, which the date will be May the 3rd. By the time you hear this, it's probably already passed. But the tournament's going on all week, so make sure you check that out. Futsal's a great game, and I think everybody should get into it. So with that shout out done, we're going to get right into CONCACAF Champions League. All right, the quarterfinals kicked off last week, and we have 8 teams, 8 good teams, and this is a competition I'm always very high on. I'm pretty high on just about any competition I talk about, right? No, when it comes to CONCACAF, I'm not a big fan of CONCACAF. As most of you know, I think that the Gold Cup is the biggest money grab in world sports, but it is what it is. But I love the CONCACAF Champions League because it gives opportunities. I'm going to say it right here, okay? And you read my thoughts on the European Super League, and you've heard my thoughts as well, vocalized in a verbal conversation back in episode 30 of the European Super League. I feel the same way about a North American Super League. I am opposed. I love Liga MX. I love aspects of Liga MX. I like aspects of Major League Soccer. I don't like the idea of them playing in a combined league. I don't like the Campeones Cup or the Leagues Cup. No, I think the place where these two leagues should face off is in the CONCACAF Champions League, and I think that CONCACAF should also include Liga MX and Major League Soccer in the Concacaf League, okay? And they don't. So I'm opposed to the current setup in that way. But when it comes to on the pitch, and it comes to the tournament itself, the CONCACAF Champions League for me has always been something I've enjoyed. Going back to Real Salt Lake's run to the final before losing to Monterrey. What was that? 2010, 2008, 9, something like that. I've been watching ever since, and I've been excited about it. And I get excited about it. Even if we get to a Final Four with only 4 Mexican teams, I'm still gonna follow, and I still like it. Okay, this competition deserves more respect than it gets from especially Major League Soccer clubs. It's getting better, but they're not there yet. Part of the reason I say part of the reason Major League Soccer hasn't won this competition is because they don't take it seriously. You can talk about calendar issues as well, and yes, there are some of that. But this year, the calendar works. You get past this stage, we're going to play further into the summer. And if I'm not mistaken, I'll pull it up now. I believe that the final is not until like September, which is great for Major League Soccer and not so great for Liga MX. Okay, so this thing of Major League Soccer having to play the tournament in their preseason, that's done this year. Okay, they played it last year in December. Major League Soccer came this close. Okay, LAFC came this close. Tigres was just a little bit better. Okay, that gap is closed. They're very neck and neck, at least with the top couple of teams. Liga MX is a stronger league. There's no question. It's deeper, but there's a lot of dead weight in Major League Soccer. That is an absolute truth. There is a lot of dead weight in Major League Soccer because there's just too many damn teams. But that's a whole topic for another day. But I think this is every year I am still hopeful, even though I prefer to watch Liga MX as a fan. On a Saturday night, if I have a choice, I'm watching Liga MX. I want to see Major League Soccer win regardless. Okay, I want to see the growth of the game here in the United States. And this includes the Canadian teams as well. But I said this last week. The Canadian teams do a better job in this competition. They have a better history, in my opinion. I know there's only 3 of them, but they do a better job in this competition. Whether or not they should be representing Canada in this competition is a whole nother discussion. And I lean towards no, they shouldn't. The Canadian spot should go to the CPL champion and the CPL runner-up. And actually, Canada only gets 1 spot. So it should go to the CPL champion. I believe if Toronto FC, Montreal Impact, or Vancouver Whitecaps are going to participate in the Concacaf Champions League, it should be through Major League Soccer and not through the Voyageurs Cup, which is still a great cup. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of it. And but I think just like in Europe, the Welsh teams do not go to the Champions League and represent, or the Europa League and represent Wales. They go through the English system, even though they're located in Wales. Same principle should be held for Canadian teams playing in North American leagues or in Major League Soccer in this case. With that said, okay, we're gonna get to the matches now. Like I said, I like this competition and I enjoy following it. I wish the kickoffs weren't so damn late. That's because I live on the East Coast. That's what they call an East Coast bias right there. A lot of these I have to watch on DVR or at least scroll through and watch and fast forward, if you will. But let's go to the first quarterfinal. Okay, we talked about the round of 16. Now we're at the quarterfinals, and it started on Tuesday. It started last Tuesday, April the 27th at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta, GA. Atlanta United versus Supporters Shield winners, Philadelphia Union. And let's go into the lineups here and talk about that really quickly. The visiting Philadelphia Union, managed by Jim Curtin, come in with a 4-1-2-1-2 formation. Andre Blake is the goalkeeper. Olivier Mabizo is the right back. Jacob Glesnes and Jack Elliott, the center backs, with Kai Wagner playing as a left back. Jose Andres Martinez is a holding midfielder and this is essentially a 4-4-2, even though it's a 4-4-2 diamond, which is on this site written down as a 4-1-2-1-2, and the two I guess you would say, box-to-box midfielders in front of Martinez is Leon Flatch on the right and former U.S. international Alejandro Bedoya on the right. In front of them, Jamiro Montero is the attacking midfielder in the number 10 position and wearing the number 10 on his back. The forwards, Kasper Persbilko and Corey Burke. Okay, for Atlanta United, longtime former U.S. international Brad Guzan is the goalkeeper. Franco Ibarra is in the back. It's a 4-3-3 for new Atlanta United manager Gabriel Heinze, the former Manchester United, among other teams, Manchester United, Marseille, and if I'm not mistaken, Paris Saint-Germain, left back. But you again, Franco Ibarra is the right back. Miles Robinson, Alan Franco, and George Bello are the four across the back. Three in midfield, anchored by Santiago Sosa in the center, with Emerson Hindman to his right and Ezequiel Barco to his left. A player I love to watch play is Ezequiel Barco, the Argentine designated player for Atlanta United. And in attack, strong attack, the striker is the Venezuelan international Josef Martinez with Marcelino Moreno to his left and Jorgen Damm to his right. Okay, we look at the match facts. And it was not a pretty night for Atlanta United, regardless of playing at home at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on the artificial surface that they're so comfortable on. It just was not their night, as Persbilko would score twice. He would notch his name to the score sheet twice in the 57th and 73rd for the Union, and in the 86th, substitute Fontana would come on and pick up a goal for himself. Anthony Fontana, that is a 77th minute substitute, who would score his goal in the 86th. And the Supporters Shield winners show no problem traveling to the Deep South, traveling to the capital of the South, to Soccer City in the South, Atlanta, Georgia. And I think Atlanta United, more than any other, well, more than any other Major League Soccer team, other than maybe Portland and Seattle, I think the three of them are probably in the same boat here, missing their huge home advantage. And of course, Philadelphia's not going to feel bad for them. They get a 3-0 victory, 3 away goals. And as the tie returns north to Chester this week, it's going to be one really tall order for Atlanta United to overcome. We'll see what they can come up with, but it was just a very one-sided match. Let's look at this the statistics here, and actually, it's if you go by the statistics, I say it's one-sided. It's one-sided on the score sheet. If you look at the statistics, and anyone who's watched or listened to my shows in the past have heard me give my views on possession as a metric of determining anything valuable. Possession without context is useless. Okay, we look at possession. Atlanta United had 65.4% possession in this one to 34.6 for Philadelphia. 16 total shots for United, while 8 for the Union. 10 chances created by United, nothing to show for it. 5 of them called big chances here in FOTMOB, while Philadelphia had 4 big chances. Again, I call this the Barcelona syndrome, where you believe that you set out this plan to win by connecting a ton of short passes and just keeping the ball all the time. And while in theory that makes you a better team, I suppose, or you believe that you're gonna have a better chance of winning because you have the ball, throughout my coaching career, I've evolved to having a different viewpoint. I used to think that, and now I think if you have too much of the ball, you get complacent, you get comfortable, and the more of the ball you have, the more of the mistakes you can have. And if you're possessing in the middle third backwards, that's a real dangerous place for a mistake. And this is why you see teams allow the others to possess. It's not a knock on them. It's a legitimate strategy. It's a legitimate tactic towards trying to get a result. And here, Philadelphia Union to a T, okay, because Atlanta United connected 475 accurate passes, 88% pass success rate. Philadelphia Union, 208 accurate passes, 73% pass rate. They connected fewer passes and they connected at a lower percentage. But to me, that still doesn't tell a story, because if they're trying to go forward and they're trying to play, dangerous balls into tight spaces, they're a lot more of them are not going to be connected. If you're playing square balls and back passes all day long, like some of these teams like to play, you're you're racking up the stats in terms of passes completed and all that, and in terms of possession, but you're not doing anything with it. You're not doing anything with it, and I think teams and managers, especially young managers that come from playing, have this belief that if you just keep the ball, you're gonna win. That the numbers say you're gonna win if you keep the ball, but it's not always the case. And here we have a blowout to a team that only saw the ball for 1/3 of the game, spent the rest of the time running and getting positioned and cutting off passing lanes. But at the end of this game, do you want to be a team that plays pretty, or do you want to be the team that advances in the competition? All right. Um, Atlanta, 12 fouls committed to 16 for Philadelphia, 7 corners for Atlanta. Now it's possible that Atlanta, I shouldn't say it's possible. It happens sometimes where you just can't finish, and then these type of things happen. You get caught on a counter, and Philadelphia is no stranger to counterattacking. But in this one, it was all of the things I don't like about possession football came out. It's not that I don't like it; it's that it needs to be done correctly, and you cannot just possess for the sake of possessing. And I think a lot of times teams, managers, fans love possession, and they get all into tiki taka. And I'm not even saying or accusing Atlanta of that, but the numbers alone will tell you that you have to create chances. It says here that they created chances. So it says that they created 10 chances. You cannot be a top level club in any league and create 10 chances and come away with a goose egg next to your name on the score sheet. You have to score goals to win. So, inefficiency is going to bite Atlanta in the butt here. And I think I think that their run in this competition ends here. And I think it's safe to say this is not the same Atlanta United we were seeing 2 seasons ago. There has been a definite drop in the level in Atlanta United since Martino left Atlanta United to become the manager of the Mexican national team. No doubt about it. If you disagree with me, that you're free to, but come up with another explanation. They had a poor season last year, okay? A poor season, and they're off to a poor start. And again, they have this golden opportunity in this competition where you can win a spot in the World Club Championship. You're going to get to play against one of the big clubs in the world to go to represent Major League Soccer on a world stage in competitive matches, not in any of these summer friendlies we used to see when European teams used to come around. No, in competitive matches. But you can't lose 3-0 at home. I don't care who you are. I don't care what the competition is. You can't lose 3-0 at home. All right. So that closes the door on that match. We're going to move to the next one, and we're going to go to Florida actually now, which is not the home of Toronto FC, but it is the home they're playing in this season. And as my phone has the information here and it froze, but it is Toronto FC using Raymond James Stadium in Tampa as their home field for this round. They had played at a different facility in Florida in the previous round, knocking out Mexican champions Leon. Now they get the current Liga MX league leaders Cruz Azul to visit them in Tampa, and I'm pulling that up now. I've unfroze my phone. So we have at Raymond James Stadium, like we said, it is Toronto FC taking on Cruz Azul. And Cruz Azul, the Mexican side, managed by none other than Juan Reynoso, come in with their 4-1-4-1 formation. And Jose de Jesus Querona, the goalkeeper, four in the back. Ignacio Rivero, Juan Escobar, Pablo Aguilar, and Adrian Aldrete are the four in the back, with Rafael Baca playing in the holding mid, four attacking mids in front of him, or a line of four in front of him. Orbelin Pineda is the right-sided midfielder, with Walter Montoya and Luis Romo in the center. Roberto Alvarado on the left, and their striker Brian Angulo. You'll notice that Jonathan Rodriguez is not in the starting lineup for this one. He was being saved. He was not started for whatever reason. He is their normal striker. He is someone who scores a lot of goals for Cruz Azul, Los Cimenteros, as they're called in Mexico. And well, you'll find out in a moment, if you didn't see the game, that Cruz Azul did not miss Jonathan Rodriguez in this one. But first, let's go to Chris Armas's Toronto FC playing a 4-2-3-1. Alexander Bono is their goalkeeper across the back. They got Auto Omar Gonzalez, the veteran, longtime veteran of both Major League Soccer and the Liga MX, former U.S. national team central defender, partnered with Eric Zavaleta in the center of defense, and Justin Morrow is the left back, a double pivot in midfield with former U.S. Or I guess still current U.S. Not sure what his status right now is in the national team, but it's Michael Bradley, and he's partnered with Ralph Priso. In front of them, a strong trio of attacking midfielders. Jonathan Osorio holding it down centrally, with Marco Delgado to his right and Jacob Schaffelberg to his left. And U.S. international Josie Altidore is the striker. And we can move through the match facts in this one a little bit, as we got. It took no time. I mean, I remember watching this one. This one I actually saw the match in its entirety, and it took all of 3 minutes for Cruz Azul to break the deadlock, and it was Brian Angulo scoring a nice goal, coming down the left side, the left center channel. He beats two defenders far too easily in my liking, and then gets by Omar Gonzalez and buries it in the far post. And Cruz Azul up a goal 3 minutes in. 17 minutes later, it is Jonathan Osorio leveling the scoreboard for TFC as he gets on the end of a nice cross and finds the back of the net. And TFC make it 1-1 and get hope back in their team and back in just back in the spirit of competing for this. I know they've already surrendered the away goal, but they pulled level. They know they can do it in this competition. They have been just minutes from winning this competition before. They've been a penalty shootout away. They always push teams to the max, and they have the added this season. They have the added obstacle of not being able to play at home, so they've got to play these matches in the United States and not at BMO Field in front of their raucous fans. Another team, I guess I should have mentioned them when I said that Atlanta, Seattle, and Portland are missing the fans more than most. Toronto FC, TFC, also in that boat because they have a great fan base up there in the True North, strong and free in the 6 in Toronto, but it just wasn't happening for them on this night, and the Mexican side just too prepared. Because 34th, it's Brian Angulo again, and it is 2-1. In between his two goals, there was also a goal that was called back due to an offside that the VAR did recognize, and it was a ball that was sent in and then flicked, and on the flick, that's when Angulo was offside, and the VAR, correctly identified the offside. And this was something I do want to mention because I thought this was very well done by Concacaf. If you watch this match, you can hear the conversation between the field referee, the center referee, and the VAR official. You can hear them, and he says, "Look, watch the flick. On the flick, look where he is." And you could see that it was offside. It was an easy call, and there is no controversy because you hear them saying what they see. in other leagues in the world when you just don't know what they're seeing. Maybe that would solve it. I think FIFA needs to make this a mandate. I think it needs to be in print, in etched in stone, that the communication between the VAR official and the center referee needs to be audible for the television audience. It needs to be recorded. It needs to be released. It needs for the sake of transparency. It needs to be available to everyone. All right, that takes you to halftime, and in the second half, a double substitution from Chris Armas. Patrick Mullins replaces Josie Altidore. Nick De Leon replaces Jonathan Osorio. But it is Pablo Aguilar who finds the back of the net for Cruz Azul, and it's 3-1 to the Cementeros, and they would make a couple substitutions of their own after that. Elias Hernandez replaces Orbelin Pineda, and Jonathan Rodriguez replaces Walter Montoya. Also, Santiago Jimenez replaces Brian Angulo, and Yosimar Yotun replaces Roberto Alvarado. That came in minute 67. Tubasa Indo replaces Jacob Schaffelberg for TFC. Guillermo Fernandez replaces Luis Romo in the 75th. And we get Ayo Akinola replacing Ralph Priso in the 77th. And in the end of the day, the referee blows his whistle. Full time, 3-1 to the visitors. This is the second game. Both games on this night, the visiting sides came away with 3 away goals. And again, possession won by the losing team, 54% to 46 for Toronto FC. Another 10 total shots, 6 chances created. However, in this one, Cruz Azul completely blew them out of the water in this statistic. Cruz Azul with 22 total shots from less possession, 17 created chances. Now, that's a team that knows how to make the most of possession and understands how to use possession when they do have it. Only 280 accurate passes. They were looking for goal. This was they played a lot more direct than Toronto, and I think in the end they reaped the benefits. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is that, of course, leg number 2 this week down at the Azteca. But it's going to be a difficult result for TFC to overcome, just like it will be for Atlanta. However, TFC have the added obstacle of having to go to Mexico City and play at altitude. So it's going to be very hard for TFC to find their way to the semifinals this time. And I expect both Philadelphia and Cruz Azul to advance from those two. We move to the next night, and we got a pair of draws. We'll start in Columbus. Columbus versus the Rayados of Monterrey. And the lineups here, starting with the Mexican side, managed by Javier Aguirre, Vasco Aguirre, the former Mexico national team, former, if I'm not mistaken, Sevilla manager as well. I know he managed in Spain, and I know he managed a couple clubs, possibly Valencia as well. Don't quote me on that though. But he comes out in a 5-4-1. He is not trying to please anybody aesthetically, and I like that. It's all about the result in knockout competitions. And he's got Luis Cardenas as the goalkeeper. His right back is the former FC Porto star Miguel Layun. 3 central defenders, and you can call it a 5-4-1. It's really a 3. It's really a 3-6-1 is what he's playing. But his 3 center defenders, as I said, Axel Grijalva, Adrian Mora, and Sebastian Vegas. His left back is Jesus Gallardo. The 4 in front of them, Ake Loba, is on the right. Matias Kranvetter in the center with Jonathan Gonzalez. Remember that name, the former U.S. Youth International who switched his eligibility to Mexico. Jonathan now plays for Mexico. He has already been capped by Tata Martino. for El Tri, and Aviles Hurtado is the left-sided midfielder, and they're all playing behind the striker. Very, very talented striker, Rogelio Funes Mori. The MLS champion Columbus Crew play a 2-3-1, 4-2-3-1, excuse me, for manager Caleb Porter. Eloy Room is the goalkeeper. Harrison Aful, Joshua Williams, Abubakar Keita, and Milton Valenzuela are the four in the back. In midfield, a double pivot of Artur and Darlington Nagby behind a three-man attacking midfield trio of Lucas Zelarayan in the center, the best player in MLS Cup, for my money, last season. And he's got Luis Diaz to his right and Pedro Santos to his left, and they're playing behind Jassy Zardes. And we'll go to this one, and it starts in the 9th minute. Again, the Mexican teams come out firing in this competition. In the 9th minute, it is Loba with the goal for Monterrey to put them ahead. But then, Pedro Santos in the second half, 65th minute, finds a way to pull level. Columbus Crew are believing in themselves. It's 1-1. And then in the 87th minute, it was Lucas Zelarayan that thought he had won the match for Columbus Crew. He gets on the score sheet 2-1 for Columbus. But in the 90th, Alvarado pulls level and sends Monterrey home with a slight advantage in my book because it's 2-2, but they got the away goals. So now Columbus need to either win or draw with more than 2 goals in Monterrey this week. Going to be very, very difficult for them to do that in the midweek fixture on the road at the BBVA Compass Stadium in Monterrey. And this is a very tall order. I'm hopeful for Columbus Crew, but I'm not entirely confident. This is a good Monterrey side. They're always good, especially in continental competition. This is an expensive team. This is a team with a high payroll, one of the most high payrolls in all of the Western Hemisphere. And when I say that, I don't mean literally, I mean in the Americas. But we will have to wait and see about that and see what happens this week when these two teams meet down in Monterrey. And then we have one more to talk about, one more quarterfinal. And for me, this was the big one. And well, it didn't really disappoint. It was a good one. It was Portland Timbers hosting Club America at Providence Park with a limited fan base in attendance, but fans of both teams were able to acquire tickets. So there was a pretty back and forth environment of support for both teams. And in these lineups, again, Club Amid, we're starting with the visiting teams. And it seems like all the Mexican teams traveled this week and next week. All the MLS teams are at home. But you got Momo Ochoa in goal in a 4-1-4-1 for manager Santiago Solari. Jorge Sanchez is the right back, Bruno Valdez and Sebastian Caceres are the center backs, with Luis Fuentes as the left back, Pedro Aquino, the holding midfielder behind Leonardo Suarez, Richard Sanchez, Alvaro Fidalgo, and Mauro Lainez, the younger brother, of course, of Diego Lainez, a former America player who now makes his living at Real Betis in the Spanish La Liga, and Roger Martinez is the striker for Portland. And their manager, Giovanni Savarese, 4-2-3-1 is their formation. Jeff Atenella is the goalkeeper. Jose Van Rankin, the right back. Larry Mabiala and Dario Zuparic are the center backs, with Claudio Bravo as the left back. Double pivot in midfield for the Portland Timbers, Diego Chara and Eric Williamson. In the attacking midfield, of course, anchored by none other than their true number 8, Diego Valeri. He's got Diego Chara's younger brother, Yimi Chara, on the right, and Dairon Asprilla on the left, and they're playing behind Felipe Mora. And while this game lived up to it, it was a pair of penalties, one to each side, that made the difference. Not exactly the offense we were expecting. We were expecting to see a little bit more goals from open play, a lot more chances from open play. But in the 45th, it was Martinez for America putting putting Las Águilas on the board and putting them in front going into halftime. And in the final minutes, in the 90th, it was Mora from the penalty spot for the Timbers. And 1-1, a share of the spoils. America take a slight advantage back to Mexico City, given, of course, they have the away goal. And now the Timbers have to go after the result at altitude in Mexico City this week. It's going to be very, very difficult for them. Like I said, same as for Toronto FC. The elevation at Mexico City is not a joke. Okay, we hear teams complain um, in American sports, in the NFL, particularly when going to Denver. Um, Mexico City's at a higher elevation than Denver, so just keep that in mind. They're gonna have to be smart. They're gonna have to manage it well, but anything is possible. And Portland are a good team. There is a lot of talent in that 11, and it is very possible. America, are finishing up the Liga MX. We're going to get to that in the final segment, round 17. In fact, they just kicked off at the time that I started recording. They just kicked off against Pumas down there in the Clásico Capitale in Mexico City with Pumas. But um, you know, America have a bye next weekend because they have a bye in the Liga in the playoffs. So they do have the ability to go full speed ahead and to use all available options in this match on Wednesday. We'll have to wait and see. But it ends 1-1, a share of the spoils, like we said. And let's now take a look at the schedule for this week. All right, so Tuesday, May the 4th, 8 p.m. on FS1. The quarterfinal number one tie moves now to Philadelphia, or to suburban Philadelphia, to Chester, to be exact. The Union host Atlanta United in 90 minutes that I fully expect Philadelphia Union to see out and advance. They may lose the match, but they're going to advance. Same goes later that night in Mexico City for Cruz Azul. I'll double check on the location. It is, in fact, at the Azteca. Both of those matches are on FS1. Yes, both of those matches are on FS1 and on 2DNA. So that's Tuesday's lineup. On Wednesday, we go to Monterrey first at 8 p.m. Also, this one's on FS2 and on 2DNA at the Estadio BBVA, or the BBVA Stadium. And right now on FOTMob, let's see, we have 210 votes, and 57% of people voting have said that Monterrey will win. 31% say it's going to be a draw. A draw could work for Columbus, but it has to be 3-3 or more for them to advance. Of course, 2-2, and the tie will go to penalty kicks. Okay, and then not to Columbus. Yes, to Columbus, and then the final one, which is really late. These kickoffs kill me. 10:15 p.m. Eastern time. And it's also at the Azteca. Remember that Cruz Azul are going to play at the Azteca one night earlier. I mean, Concacaf really should have bet. Of course, no one's ever accused Concacaf of being smart, but I think Cruz Azul should have had a home leg in in leg one, and America in leg two, or vice versa. They shouldn't both be having their home legs in the same leg. That would avoid this problem. But again, this is Concacaf we're talking about. But Fox Sports 1 to the NA will have it 10:15 kickoff time, and I will have the DVR set, and I'll be happy to watch it Thursday morning. All right, and that is where we stand this week in Concacaf Champions League. Let's quickly pay a visit to the Hyundai A-League in Australia. I'm gonna pull that up really quickly here, and let's see. All right, so a whole round of matches going on this weekend and more in the coming days, but we'll start with the matches on Friday night. Okay, actually, we'll start with Thursday's match, April the 29th. Melbourne City 3-1 winners at home over Newcastle Jets. Friday, Adelaide United 0-0 with Western United FC. Saturday's matches, we have Brisbane Roar FC 0, Wellington Phoenix 0. Western Sydney Wanderers win their derby with Sydney FC 3-2 to the home side, beating the defending champions no less. And Perth Glory 0-0 with MacArthur FC. And then today, Melbourne Victory, in all their struggles, managed a draw at home to Central Coast Mariners. The next round of matches start on Wednesday with Perth Glory hosting Melbourne City FC and Brisbane Roar hosting Western United FC. Let's go to the table now. And you have teams having all different amounts of matches, but through 18 matches, Melbourne City FC are top of the table, 35 points right now. Remember that the top six advance to their championship round, or as we would call it here in the United States, the playoffs. Melbourne City, like I said, 35 points, a goal difference of plus 22, by far the best goal difference, 42 goals for, 20 allowed. Everybody else's goal difference is in the single digits. Second place is Central Coast Mariners, 32 points from 20 matches, and they're 1 point better than the defending champions Sydney FC, who have 31 points from 20 matches. Fourth place right now, Adelaide United, also on 31 points, but they have a match in hand on Sydney. They've got 19 played. MacArthur FC, the expansion team in their first year, they have 29 points and are in fifth place right now from 20 matches. In Western United FC right now holding the tiebreaker over West Sydney Wanderers for that final playoff spot. Western FC have 28 points from 18 matches. They do have two matches in hand on Western Sydney. And Western Sydney FC, as we said, also 28 points. Brisbane Roar in 8th with 27. Wellington Phoenix with 26. Perth Glory in 10th place on 19 points from 17 matches. And as I just mentioned, Melbourne Victory in their struggles, continuing to struggle. One of the league's early powerhouses now finding themselves in a state of struggle for at least the second season in a row. They have 15 points from 19 matches, and the Newcastle Jets are bottom of the table, 12th place, 13 points. All right, going to take a quick break here, and in a few moments we will be back, and we will go to Major League Soccer. So sit tight. Don't forget to follow the Parking the Bus podcast on Twitter and the PTV Media Network on Twitter at PTV_media, on Instagram at PTV_media as well. And don't forget to go over to our YouTube channel and click subscribe. I need subscribers, guys. I really need people to subscribe so you can get the content, so you can click on it, so I can get the clicks and get the views and start to really get some momentum going with this channel. All right. And then hopefully continue to bring you a lot of content. I like covering all of these different leagues. I like knowing what's going on in all these different leagues. I like talking about it, but I do need the clicks. I just need the traffic. Okay. And of course, please go to www.parkingthebusmedia.com. Give me some clicks there and help me generate a little bit of I don't want to say wealth, but help me generate a little bit of income to keep this project going. All right, we'll be right back here on the PTB Media Network. This is Parking the Bus, episode 32. All right, welcome back to Parking the Bus, episode number 32. And now we are going to Major League Soccer. That's right, it's time to talk about Major League Soccer. We are at round three. It's concluded. It hasn't concluded yet. There's still a few matches going on at the time of recording, but let's run down the fixture list right now for what went down this weekend in Major League Soccer. This is the first I've talked about Major League Soccer this season, but the thing about Major League Soccer is it's all about the end of the season. Okay, as important as any match is, these matches pale in comparison to the importance later. Um, and I just got distracted there by a comment here on the StreamYard, but thank you, DGens United. And let's move to this weekend's matches here, as it was Saturday, May the 1st. All right, New York Red Bulls 2-0 winners at Red Bull Arena over Chicago Fire. Real Salt Lake 3-1 winners over SKC over Sporting Kansas City. Montreal Impact in a stalemate 0-0 with Columbus Crew. Houston Dynamo 1-1 with LAFC. That's a decent result for the Dynamo at home. New England Revolution pick up their first win of the season. They beat Atlanta United. We just talked about the struggles of Atlanta United in the last segment, and really climbing a big mountain, literally and figuratively speaking, when they try to overcome that result in the Champions League against Philadelphia Union later this week. Orlando City 3-0 winners against Cincinnati, and poor Cincinnati. It just seems like they just can't get things going there. They have a brand new stadium, though, that they're opening this season, and they're so well supported. You know, they were such a well supported USL franchise, and now they're struggling to put the right pieces together to make a team that can compete in Major League Soccer. They were bottom of the table, I believe, both of the last two seasons. If not, they were close. And it's a city and a fan base I want to see succeed. So hopefully things can turn around for them. Philadelphia Union chose to rotate the squad a bit and paid for it, losing 2-0 at home in Chester to NYCFC. FC Dallas 4-1 winners at home to Portland Timbers, who also rotated their squad due to Champions League. Minnesota United hosting Austin FC, and the expansion side from Texas picks up the 3 points. 3 points for the Greens, I guess. I don't know what they're calling themselves yet. They're a brand new team. I'm not sure what nickname they're taking just yet. And San Jose Earthquakes 4-1 winners at home over DC United. And earlier today, Nashville Soccer Club, with a 0-0 draw against David Beckham's Inter Miami CF. And Seattle Sounders right now in action against LA Galaxy. And as it stands right now, Seattle Sounders 2-0 ahead, 53rd minute, goals from Raul Ruidiaz and Brad Smith. So that's where Seattle Sounders stand right now at the time of recording. And also Vancouver Whitecaps, Colorado Rapids have kicked off. They're 27 minutes in, and the visitors are ahead. The Colorado Rapids from Diego Rubin have themselves ahead 1-0. Again, round 3 of Major League Soccer. Let's look at the tables now. We'll start in the Eastern Conference. New England Revolution are the leaders right now. 3 matches, 7 points for the Revs. They're 1 point ahead of NYCFC. Orlando City are in third with 5 points, and Montreal Impact right there with them, also on 5 points. Atlanta United and Inter Miami on 4 points and 5th and 6th, respectively. And in 7th, it is the New York Red Bulls with 3 points, as their goal difference right now is better than DC United, Nashville, and Nashville SC. All 3 of those sides on 3 points, but right now, New York Red Bulls in 7th, DC United in 8th, and Nashville in 9th. Columbus Crew, the defending champions, they've only played 2 matches. They've got 2 points, 2 draws to start the season. Toronto FC, 1 point from 2 matches. Philadelphia Union have a 1 point from 3 matches, as do Chicago Fire and FC Cincinnati, all on 1 point. So everyone in the Eastern Conference has already picked up a point after 3 matches. Western Conference, if the result holds, you'll have Seattle Sounders in the lead with 7 points, but they are in action right now. San Jose Earthquakes, Real Salt Lake, and Austin FC, as well as LA Galaxy, right now on 6 points. Of course, if the Galaxy change that result, they will swap spots with Seattle Sounders. LAFC in 6th right now. They have 5 points. FC Dallas is 4, as does Houston, Vancouver, and Sporting Kansas City, and Colorado Rapids. But of course, Colorado Rapids, that is a provisional 4 points. That's as it stands right now. That's a live table at the time of recording, and they They are currently in the lead at Vancouver Whitecaps. The MLS's back winners from last season, Portland Timbers, they have 3 points from 3 matches. Minnesota United is still without a point. So that is the table right now. I'm not going to go through the Supporters Shield standings at this point with so many matches to go. The conference tables are probably enough right now. Next week's fixtures in Major League Soccer. Friday, Real Salt Lake hosts San Jose Earthquakes. Saturday, Chicago hosts Philadelphia. The Red Bulls host Toronto FC. Columbus Crew hosts DC United. Nashville hosts New England Revolution. Vancouver hosts Montreal in an all-Canadian matchup. FC Dallas hosts Houston in a Texas derby or a Texas Classico. And Orlando City will host New York City FC. LA Galaxy hosts LAFC next weekend in El Tráfico. That's a Saturday night special, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Next Saturday night, I'm sure it's on television. It is on Fox. It is on Big Fox. It is on the over the air on the big antenna. Check your local Fox affiliate. Make sure that it is not preempted. It shouldn't be preempted at 8 p.m. on a Saturday. It could do a very, very good television number. What's hampered El Tráfico over the years on television is that a lot of times they're scheduled at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and that cuts out a large portion of television watchers and football fans in this country. So I'm looking forward already to that. I'm going to set the DVR in case I forget, and I'm going to make sure that I can watch El Tráfico next Saturday, May the 8th, and then 10 o'clock, Colorado Rapids host Minnesota United. And then on Sunday, 3 matches. Inter Miami hosting Atlanta United in the Southern Derby at their stadium there in Fort Lauderdale. That's a 1 p.m. kickoff. Then it must be rivalry weekend. The next weekend, I think MLS likes to market up these things because on Sunday, 3 p.m., it is a Cascadia derby. It is the Portland Timbers and the Seattle Sounders. These teams have almost 50 years of rivalry now, going all the way back to the NASL. ESPN Deportes has that one, and I'm going to assume, and looks like the only national television that has it. I'm not sure about that. Check your list. Check your ESPN Plus app as well. I find it hard to believe that this match is only going to be available nationally on ESPN Deportes. But there are a whole lot of West Coast television channels listed here as having it. Providence Park, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, so that's at noon kickoff next Sunday in Portland. And right now, there's only 19 votes, but the majority have Portland predicted to win. All right, and then Sporting Kansas City will host Austin FC in the nightcap next Sunday. Let's take a look quickly at the top goal scorers, and it is no surprise. Top of the list is Chicharito Hernandez of LA Galaxy. He's got 5 goals already. NYCFC's Jesus Medina has 3, while Valentin Castellanos also has 3. They're both of New York City FC. Real Salt Lake's Julio Anderson has 2. Cade Cowell of San Jose Earthquakes also has 2, as does Caden Clark of the Red Bulls. Cecilio Dominguez, the former Club America star, he's now at Austin FC. He's got 2 goals. Corey Bird of LAFC has 2 goals. Christian Caceres has 2 goals. Diego Fagundes, no longer in New England, made the big jump. He is at Austin FC. He's got 2 goals already. Must make Bruce Arena wonder a little bit. Maybe he let that one slip away. I think being here in Boston, okay, even if I'm not the biggest fan, I am aware of the New England Revolution. And I have said for some time that Diego Fagundes needed a move away from New England. He needed to break from the hometown syndrome. He really was suffering it. And I'm happy to see him succeed down there in Austin. Also, still many, many more with 2 goals. Let me just run them off. Jackson Ewell, John Derkadis, Lucas Stojanovic, Mason Toye, and Nani, and Raul Ruiz-Diaz, Rubio Ruben, Gonzalo Higuain, and Adam Bushka, all with 2 goals. And I do apologize for the stuttering there. It is late. It is getting late as I am coming to you here late this Sunday night. You won't hear this until sometime Monday, most likely. But that is where Major League Soccer stands right now. Going to take a real quick break once again, and I'm I'm going to be back with Liga MX. All right, we're going to wrap up with Liga MX and wrap up to get ready for the Liga, which is 1 week away from kicking off. We have one game going on in Liga MX right now. We'll check in on that and we'll run down the rest of the results. All right, this is the Park on the Bus podcast, episode 32. I am the Mr. Mike Agostinho, and if you're watching, you can see that right there on your screen. Otherwise, you're hearing me and follow at PTB_media on both Instagram and on Twitter. And don't forget www.parkinthebusmedia.com. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to this final segment of episode 32 of Parking the Bus. Liga MX is where we stop, and this is where we finish for this week. All right, round 17, the final round of the regular season in the Liga Guardianes 2021, as they're calling it this season in honor of frontline workers, normally known as Liga MX Clausura. All right, so let's run down the results that we saw this weekend. And ironically, the weekend kicked off on a Thursday this week, a rare thing in Mexico. And Atletico San Luis gets stomped at home to start off the week as Pachuca goes into San Luis Potosi and wins 5-1 on the road. Bad day for Atletico. That club is in a tough spot right now. They are owned by Atletico Madrid. Yes, this Atletico Madrid. If you're watching, you might have seen me earlier today on episode 31 wearing an Atletico Madrid jersey. But they are Atletico San Luis, owned by Atletico Madrid, and they won out. That is well known, and they will be up. I'm pretty sure they're going to be up for sale very soon if they're not already. And may be known as an entire different entity very soon. And one thing I hate about North American sports is that right there. The rebranding, the selling of teams, the moving of teams. It's something that I just don't agree with. And there's another team in Mexico that's also a relocated team. We talked about Austin in Austin City or FC Austin rather in Major League Soccer. We all remember the Save the Crew movement. And the Save the Crew movement gained a lot of momentum, but just the fact that an owner can take a team and move them across the country to another city really irks me. Um, American owners are learning the hard way in England right now, aren't they? When they overstep their bounds about what they can do with their club, they don't understand. Just because you are the owner in name, okay, you are what you really are is you are the trustee of that club for that community, okay. And American fans need to stop allowing owners to do this, okay. We saw this. We saw today at Old Trafford what happens when supporters decide that they've had enough of an owner. The Glazers need to go in Manchester, okay? And I applaud the Manchester United supporters for what they did today. I do. I have no problem saying that. I'll go on the record and say I applaud it, okay? Back to Liga MX now in Friday night. Another blowout. to start off the night as Necaxa were at home to Atlas, and Atlas go in and win 5-1 over Necaxa. And then later that night, Juarez 1-0 winners at home over Toluca. Saturday's results: Chivas versus Tigres, a big matchup for in terms of supporters, and this is a big television matchup because of the number of supporters, both in Mexico and up here in the United States. But it's a stalemate, 0-0. Nothing comes of it, and well, I've stated before my feelings about Chivas and Chivas Guadalajara, and it's not a club that I support anything about what they stand for. So I'm always happy when they do not win. Leon 2-1 winners over Querétaro. Cruz Azul 1-1 have a 1-1 draw at home to Cholos Tijuana, and at the BBVA it was Monterrey 1-0 winners over Mazatlan. Mazatlan is the other team I was talking about who decided they didn't want to be Monarcas Morelia anymore, and they moved to Mazatlan, and now they're Mazatlan FC, and it's what I can't stand about North American sports, quite honestly. Okay, then today, two matches. Earlier today, Santos Laguna and Puebla, 0-0. This was not a good weekend in Liga MX. Everybody basically that was going to make the playoffs was in and safe, and that led to a lot of squad rotations, a lot of decreased intensity, and right now at the Olímpico Universitario in Mexico City. It is 0-0 Pumas and America, and I believe Pumas have to win by 6 goals to find their way into the playoffs. So it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Let's pull up the table now, and we will start 17 rounds. There we go. And so these will be the seedings in the playoffs unless some kind of miracle happens in this versus uh Pumas versus America match. Pumas, yes, need to win by 6 goals. Okay, they are at -1 right now in goal difference. But anyway, no, I stand corrected. Pumas with the win would advance. But anyway, we'll have to see what happens, and it's not going to fit into the framework of this show. But the regular season winner, if you will, the top seed going into the playoffs is Cruz Azul. We've talked about them quite a bit today, and they have 41 points from 17 matches. They lead. America are second, 30 right now, 36 matches in this alive table, 35 when the day started, as they're currently drawn away at Pumas. Third place belongs to Puebla. They have 28 points in a plus 11 goal difference. 2 goals better than Monterrey in fourth, who also have 28 points. Fifth, Santos Laguna, 26 points. Sixth is the defending champions, Leon. Seventh is Atlas with 25 points. Eighth goes to Pachuca, 23. Chivas are ninth right now with 23 points. Tigres 10th also with 23 points. 22 for Toluca in 11th place. And Querétaro right now with the final spot, 21 points. Excuse me there. And so right now, the way it's looking, the top 4 teams advance to the Liguilla automatically. Okay. The places 5 through 12 will play in a wild card round. So if the season ended today, well, it does end today, I shouldn't say that. If this final match were over, right now, Querétaro in 12th would take on 5th place Santos Laguna. 6th place León would take on Toluca. 7th place Atlas would take on Tigres. And 8th place Pachuca would take on 9th place Chivas. Those are 1-game wildcard playoffs, okay? And if the matches are tied, they will go to penalties. So the usual Mexican rule that I really like in the 2 legs of the team that's higher in the table winning on a tie, that doesn't apply in a 1-leg playoff. So that's where it stands. And then 8 teams will start the Liguilla the following midweek. So when we get back here next week and talk North American football next weekend, we will have a good idea of who's playing who in the Liguilla and we will know. We will already be, because I believe these wild card matches are going to take place next week. Let me see if they're already up here. And no, they're not. So the Liga starts next weekend. The top four, like I said, have a bye. So we will see when we come back to this region next week. I'll have a lot more information regarding the Liga MX playoffs, the Liguilla. Let's take a look quickly at the top goal scorers in Liga MX. Okay, for this season, for this clausura. Alexis Canelo of Toluca wins the Golden Boot with 11 goals. Nicolas Ibanez of Atletico San Luis is right behind him with 10. Jonathan Rodriguez and Rogelio Funes Mori and Santiago Ormeño all with 9 goals. And then Fidel Martinez of Cholos and Angel Mena of Leon with 8. And then a whole host of players with 6. So that's where the stats lie right now. So stay tuned to the Parking the Bus or the PTB Media Twitter, as I will update you on the status of the Liguilla with game times. I'm planning to do that this week. And I plan on writing up something this week also in regard to Liga MX on the website. So do check www.parkingthebusmedia.com. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Parking the Bus. It's been a pleasure to bring it to you. Thank you to whoever was watching it here, this live stream. And I don't even know where this live stream was being broadcast. There is a comment here, so I'm not even sure where it was broadcast. But thank you to everyone that did watch it, and I'll be back on the podcast later in the week. We got a European show coming up. I have to round up the European leagues, and we also got big UEFA Champions League semifinal second legs this week. So there will definitely be a review of the second legs later in the week, towards the weekend, and Europa League as well. And for anybody interested, please tune in Thursday to Mr. Benfica, to my YouTube channel, okay? The Mr. Benfica YouTube channel. I am going to attempt to go live before the Clásico in Portugal. I'm going to attempt to do a live pregame show before the Clásico Thursday afternoon. It's scheduled for a 1:30 kickoff, so I'm thinking 1 p.m. Eastern. I will go live with a short pregame show. I'll tweet it out. I'm hoping it's going to work. My history with technology is not a good one, as you can see with this experiment here tonight. But I'm hoping that I'll have that up and working by Thursday, and that I can have a live pregame show to preview the match, and then possibly even a post-game show. I'm not really sure yet, but we'll have to wait and see. And do follow my Mr. Benfica accounts as well on Twitter at Benfica Mr., on Instagram at Mr. Benfica, and on the website www.mrbenfica.com. Thank you, everybody. I will see you next time. This has been the Mr. Mike Agostinho for the PTB Media Network, signing off.